Hello, everyone, and welcome to Badminton Lights Out, a feature of the Badminton podcast,
where we take you behind the scenes of high-performance badminton.
I'm Gronya.
I'm Justine, and welcome to the pod. Today's episode, we're going to go behind the scenes on Gronya's Euro trip. Welcome, Gron.
Good to be here. I have been in Europe for a month so far, and it's been great to be back on tour and playing tournaments and freezing my ass off over here.
Yeah. Is it weird that you had to go from like hot Australia to cold, or are you enjoying the cold?
Initially, it wasn't so bad. So Australia was still kind of like semi-cold some days. And then I went to like Denmark first, where it was a bit cold, but not like freezing. But now it's starting to get pretty cold. I'm in Saarbrücken, Germany currently, and it is 7 degrees. That was kind of like the maximum today.
It's what time is it? It's like 8 in the morning for me right now, and it's 16 degrees. It's like double. And what's it like? Do you miss having your own car, like, the convenience of driving everywhere? Are you enjoying like walking and cycling or whatever you're doing?
It's nice. I kind of just see it as an adventure. Like, I took a scooter out the other day, and the route I picked was like the bike route on Google Maps, and it went down this kind of like mountain bike track, and I was just on the e-scooter like, shit. And I was just like, okay, this is just a fun adventure going through like the autumn leaves. Just kind of trying to put positive spins on random things that happen.
It's an experience.
But I'm really enjoying it so far.
That's good.
Now, just a quick word from our sponsors. As people who love badminton, we all know that it's not just about the sport itself. It's about the connections you make and the things that it teaches you as a person that you're able to bring to all of the other parts of your life. That's why we want to introduce you to the book Mirror of Magico, written by Al Liao, a former Taiwanese national badminton player who is as passionate about badminton as us. For those who love Harry Potter, you want to give this one a read, because Al has authored a fantasy story where 3 different characters with varying personalities go on a journey of adventure and learning. And they realize that things don't just happen to you, they happen because of you. And by being yourself and spending time in your dreams, you can conquer the evils and be the best version of yourself. So make sure you check it out. Mirror of Magico, written by Al Liao. You can find it in all leading bookstores, and we'll leave the link in the podcast description.
All right, so we're going to talk about the badminton side of things. So I actually saw that you had recently had a Q&A, right? And you had quite a few questions. So maybe we can tackle those questions here on the pod to go like dive more into it. Okay, so for those who have been following your journey on the tournament circuit, right? They might have noticed that you don't play singles. So you've been playing with different people on tour. So what's it like? Like, how do you find partners? Like, how do you know who to contact when you look for a partner?
Yeah, so pretty much I was planning to come to Europe with Sediana, my partner from Australia, but some things changed with that. So I last minute had to kind of see what other options I had. So I wanted to play mixed doubles already, and I was wanting to do that for the French Open and the German Open, which are, I think, 750 and 500 Super Series tournaments. So pretty high up there, which meant I needed to find someone with a high ranking to qualify or to make the main draw. So for that, I literally just went to the world ranking list in mixed doubles and went down from the top and was trying to think of which boys might not have a partner. So the 2 that I asked were Joshua Yu from Canada, because I knew he was splitting with his partner after the Olympics, and he wasn't playing tournaments. So then I asked Ronan Labar from France as well, because he had just left the national team, and I saw on Instagram that Anne was kind of saying that she's finishing with her partners, who is his old mixed partner. So I asked him, and yeah, he was happy to partner for these 2 tournaments. And so the logistics is that, yeah, I messaged him, I asked him, we discussed it, and then we both just tell our federation, so Badminton Australia and Badminton French Federation, that we want to enter, and then they will enter us both in the tournament. And then also for the German Open, Jenny Moore from England saw that I was going to play and didn't have a partner. And so she messaged me and said that she was happy to play some tournaments in Europe if I wanted to. And so, yeah, we entered the German Open, same thing. And that was the night before entries closed. So it's a little bit last minute.
Good transition, because I actually wanted to bring this up. Like, entries actually close pretty early, like right before the tournament. So how many months is it usually before the entries close?
Probably about 1 month at least before, for these bigger ones. Sometimes the smaller ones like International Challenge or Series might be like 2 weeks, 3 weeks before. Yeah.
So was it like a bit stressful? Like, how much time did you have before entries closed for mixed and doubles to find a partner, or did you have quite a bit of time?
The mixed was quite a bit of time, maybe like 2 months. And then, yeah, the women's doubles was pretty much the week. So entries always close on like a Tuesday night Malaysian time. And so we were messaging on the weekend. And then I think like Monday we did the entries. So
is it possible, like you had mentioned before, that you have to get the National Association to enter yourself into the tournament, right? Is it possible that the National Association will like refuse to enter you into the tournament? Or?
Yeah, so I think a lot of the, I guess, bigger national teams, maybe especially the Asian ones, they don't really support players partnering other countries, because ultimately the players are kind of employees of the federation, the association, and they want to do what's in the interests of them, really, which is partnering you with one of their players, and you both representing the country together. So it's probably the European countries more, and the smaller ones, like other small countries where the players are more independent, where they have the flexibility to partners from other countries. But technically through like BWF, anyone can partner anyone through from another country, as long as both the associations enter them. But that is one of the issues that I guess badminton faces, is that the association still has so much power in that they can refuse to enter players. And I know some players, have got banned from playing tournaments just because their association wasn't happy with something they did, or the other things like that. So it would be nice to have players to have the independence to do how they like.
True. All right, so we'll go back to your partners, right? So now that you found partners, did you manage to find time to train with them, or did you just like show up on court and be like, let's do this?
Yeah, so I guess because these were big tournaments and I hadn't played any tournaments really since the Olympics, I wanted to still approach it as professionally as I could. So I went to the south of France where Ronan lived a few days before the French Open, or before we had to get to the French Open. So I had 2 training sessions with him there. And that was really good. We played against the Popovs, which are a great men's doubles pair in France. And yeah, I got to see some of the south of France in Marseille. So that was awesome. And just to get familiar, I feel like mixed is a little bit easier because the girl kind of just goes forward and plays the net. Whereas with Jenny, when we got to Germany, I joined a few more of her training sessions with the English team as opposed to with the French team, like I did at the French Open. The women's doubles was a bit, there's a lot more, I guess, rotations and different things to set up for your partner from the back and that kind of thing. So it was good to train with her against some of like the women's doubles girls from England as well, before the tournament, because with COVID right now, you actually have to arrive at the tournament on the Sunday, and then you might not play till Tuesday or Wednesday. So there's pretty much at least 2 to 3 training sessions you can do together before then.
And speaking of COVID, like for you to be able to travel anywhere, right, do you have to do a lot of COVID tests before you get into the country? What's it like in Europe? Because I know in New Zealand, if you don't have access to come to this country, you just can't. Like, it's ridiculous. So what's it like to get into Europe with the whole COVID thing?
It's actually pretty chill. So as long as you're double vaccinated, you can pretty much travel anywhere. But it's BWF that have put in place all these COVID requirements. So you have to check into the hotel by that Sunday before the tournament and have a COVID test then once you arrive. And then you have to isolate till you get the negative result back. And then I think throughout the week, they also do like 2 or 3 more tests, and then one before you fly to the next place. But if you're kind of outside of, the badminton world, you can pretty much travel to any country and just follow their, local COVID guidelines, which for most of them is if you're fully vaccinated, you just enter and maybe just fill out a whereabouts form. That's all. Yeah.
What the heck? Are you used to getting COVID tests now? Like off your nose?
Yeah, I feel like I am from, the Olympics and like Thailand Open. We
Thailand,
had them
yeah.
all the time. So yeah, I'm really used to it. I don't find it that bad at all.
I've yet to try on, so I'm like, oh,
You haven't had one?
No, no. Oh my God, that's knock on wood, knock on wood.
You're not even like part of this pandemic.
I know. It's because I'm just always in my bubble.
Imagine telling your kids there was this pandemic back in 2020, but I never got a COVID test.
My kids, you mean my puppies, right? Like,
yeah. But it's actually crazy. I feel like because in Australia, because I guess New Zealand, we haven't had, that many cases. So we don't even know that many people that have had COVID. Whereas on tour, like I swear like 70% of the badminton players have all had it.
really?
Yeah, like
That's
a lot
crazy.
of badminton players have had COVID and they're like the only people I know that have really had it. I should do a thing and like go up to every player and be like, have you had COVID? Have you had COVID? Just like
Are they real chill talking about it? Are they chill? They're like, yeah. I had COVID.
Like I was talking to Igor and Nat, Brazilian and Irish guys, and they both had it and they were, I was asking like their symptoms and then they were both saying, or Nat was saying how like he couldn't think clearly afterwards. So then anytime he says something dumb now, we're like, oh, it's just COVID brain. Like it's just that long COVID. So just blaming
so now he has something to blame.
Yeah.
That's so funny. Man, no, I can't believe that's so normal there.
Now, just a quick word from our sponsors. The Badminton Podcast is brought to you by Volant. Volant was first born out of our frustration with the confusing, bright and unsightly clothes and equipment that we saw in the badminton world. But now it's so much more than that. Our mission is to accelerate the growth of badminton by providing players with products that enhance their love for the sport. All in all, it's high quality gear that makes you look and feel great on and off the court. So make sure you check us out at volantbadminton.com and follow us on our socials at volantbadminton.
But okay, so back to your tournament scene. So how was it like once you finish all the training? How was it like on court? Like, did you have a coach or was it like really chill? I guess you wouldn't have any expectations, right, when you get on court because it's your first time playing. So what was the difference between the mindset between you with your normal partners and like with new ones? So what was it was
a little bit different because I didn't really know how seriously they wanted to take it. Like usually, if I have my set partner, then, it's a big deal for every tournament. Where with our coach, we're doing our analysis, where, I guess like talking through our game plan, that kind of thing. But because this is just kind of two, like 1 or 2 off tournaments, and it's not like a long-term thing, I guess we didn't take it as professionally. Like I did in a way, and I trained with them and everything. And, we talked about our opponents, but we didn't like sit down, watch the video. Like with Ronan, he doesn't really have like a kind of set coach where he trains. So we didn't have a coach for our match, that kind of thing. And then with Jenny, we did a little bit of analysis because she had her coach there. And I was like, I would like to, see what your coach has to say and kind of learn from him. And I think we have a good chance first round, especially. So let's like do it properly and professionally. So that was good. So we did our analysis and then he sat behind us on the court. And it was good.
Do you find it more assuring having a coach behind you, or you don't mind having no coach with you?
I definitely feel more comfortable with a coach. It's just, I guess it's just that reassurance and somebody that you can bounce ideas off. And I definitely feel a lot better with a coach there.
And with playing with Ronan, right? Because he speaks French, obviously. Did you like learn any French words that he might say on court or something, or no? Are you just speaking English the whole time?
I learned "allez," which is like "come on," and then I learned a swear word. He said it like repeatedly after we lost our first match in France, 22-20, the third set. Like every 5 seconds, he'd just say it, and we're like, okay, I know what this word is now.
That's so good. So was it a good experience overall, like playing with new people?
Yeah, it was awesome. The French Open especially was really good. Like we had a great match against the runners-up in the end. And I've never really played with like a very high level mixed doubles partner. No offense to Simon, my normal Australian partner. Yeah. But Rona, you know, it's been like top 30, top 40 in mixed doubles. So it was kind of nice to have that like level on court behind me, you know, with the stability in his shots, his setup, his like tactics, that kind of thing. And to have like such a competitive match against a top pair as well was really a great experience for me. And then of course, because he's French, the French crowd was there, and it was the first tournament I've played in such a long time that had a crowd, and it was just awesome. You know, he was like pumping up his fists to the crowd and they were going crazy, and it was like just so fun to be on court again in that environment. So yeah, it was awesome.
That's good. Oh yeah, I forget that we can actually have, you know, audience in tournaments now. It's so crazy. And well, I wanted to ask you this, what was the thing, obviously, because every time you play with someone, you learn something that they do, right, to apply to your game. What was the one thing that you took in your backpack with playing with Ronan?
I don't know, it was just kind of a pretty much like normal mix. Like
it was just more consistent, wasn't it? Like
yeah, pretty much just the quality and the consistency was higher. Nothing major, I guess.
Okay. So mixed doubles players out there, just be more consistent and have better quality, really.
It's like every, you know, Asian coach is like, just be more consistent, just like hit it better. Like, yeah. But like, what's the training that I actually need to do to get better?
So we're gonna start talking about what it's like outside the tournament. Like, so how you maintain your own you know, training, or how you maintain your level while you're away, because it's really hard, especially in a different country where you're out of routine, right? And there's nothing normal. You don't have your own gym, you don't have people you spar with. So how do you maintain it? Like, how do you track your training?
Yeah, so it's been like very, I guess, haphazard with, you know, my changing schedule, having different flight schedules, joining different groups to train with. So, I mean, initially when I got to Aarhus, I was just commentating that whole week. So training wasn't even a priority. So I pretty much just tried to get on court as much as I could, like joining the Canadian team for a few sessions. I had a session with Sana Nawal. She let me use her coach. Like we would alternate. I didn't actually like hit with her that much. But yeah, things like that, just trying to ask players and teams if I can join them. And then just trying to get gym access wherever I can, or, you know, doing a run or something that's like no equipment if I can't get access. But pretty much usually like when I'm back in Australia, I track my training week in an Excel spreadsheet. So I put in my court sessions, my gym sessions, and I rank them out of the like intensity from 1 to 3. So then I just tried to replicate that when I'm away. So, you know, especially around tournaments, it's a lot more challenging to, I guess, prioritize pushing yourself as much, because you kind of want to feel good for that tournament. Or especially if you have a lot of matches, then you know, you can't fit us in. You might not be able to fit in your gym session, or, you know, you have to take some things off. But pretty much I'm trying to still keep my court sessions up to at least like 6 sessions a week. And, you know, where possible, do a technical session, or even just like some heavy racket in the room, that kind of thing, to get the, you know, the same muscle memory and that sort of thing. And then I have minimum that I have to do 1 like heavy leg weight session, 1 upper body session, and 1 bike session. So the bike is probably the thing that I drop off if I need to, because like I get my court fitness from my court training, and like typically back in Australia I would do 2 bike sessions, so I've already kind of dropped 1 off. But yeah, I mainly just try and keep those 3 gym bike sessions, and then trying to make sure I get enough court time.
Who decides your program? Like, do you make your own program when you're away, or do you have a coach do you talk to?
You mean like in the court session?
No, for gym.
Yeah. So I have my trainers back in Australia who write the sessions, but because pretty much whenever I go away, we kind of just keep the same session. So I'm not trying new exercises.
Introducing you,
not getting DOMs. So it's pretty much like, it's a bit boring, but it's pretty much just the same session. And, you know, I know I have learned how to adapt it if I need to, if the gym, you know, doesn't have this certain piece of equipment, or the weights are different, whatever.
And what about on court? Like, do you do your own program, or do you usually just adapt to who you're sparring with at the time? Because usually you'll be training with coaches, right? Or is it like on your own?
So during the training week at the tournaments, it's mostly like I'm kind of just hitting with whoever I can. So a lot of the time it'll just be like 2 other players maybe, and then we just do 2v1 and you pick your own drills. So in that, I just try to make it so that I'm able to kind of hit every spot. So I do a bit of rear mid court, a bit of mid court, a bit of front court, a bit of defense, just like fast driving defense and then long defense. But when I have the chance and I join like the club training in Denmark or the national training here in Germany, then I just follow their program and just try and learn like how they do things and note down any interesting drills that they do, or, the ways that coaches cue the athletes or things to focus on, that kind of thing as well. And then if I feel like I need to, I'll try and top up my own sessions. Like I'll do a footwork session if I feel like I haven't done enough physical this week, or ask a player to do technical with if I feel like I need to do something extra as well.
Nice. And with all this like in the background, how do you manage your injuries? Like, do you get injured, or you're just like Superwoman where you're like don't get injured at all?
No, so I get injured like pretty easily. Up until the Olympics, I actually was able to maintain a really high training load and not have much injuries. But I did something stupid in Aarhus because I wasn't training much. So I was like, I feel like I need a really tough session. So I went to the gym and I did sprints on the treadmill, and like I hadn't been running that much. And then I just decided to do sprints. I was like, no, it's fine. I can do this. I'll just do like a little bit of sprints. And then I like kind of strained my adductor a little bit. So then I was back in Copenhagen and I was a bit worried about it because I hadn't had this injury before. So I didn't really know the extent of the risk of if I kept training or not. So I asked Peter Gate if he knew any physios, and he connected me with one. So I went and saw her, and she just said, it's just a small strain, and gave me some exercise and that kind of thing. So I guess just when I need to, I use the contacts around me. Like it's great knowing so many players who can connect you with coaches, and like whatever country you go through the badminton community, you can just find a player and they'll help you out, which is one of the greatest things about this community. And then like during tournaments, I have asked like the Malaysian physio to treat me, and I've just paid him, for that as well. So things like that. And then some tournaments have their own physio, which you can access.
When tournaments have their own physio, do you have to pay extra, or is it just like covered by the tournament?
I went to the German one here and that was free. So
that's good. That's good. Because I know here in New Zealand, like physio is free, but then when we went to Australia and we played some tournament, and they're like, hey, this amount, and we're like, what? We've never had to pay for physio.
Yeah, I think it just depends on the tournament and what arrangement they have. I've also done we call it telehealth in Australia. So I video call my physio in Australia mainly if I want to check up on a kind of ongoing injury that I have, or sometimes a new one, and they kind of just tell me more the steps I need to take in terms of like my load management or the rehab exercises, that kind of thing. Obviously they can't, touch it and really assess it properly, but more so kind of talking me through the management steps is what they do in that situation.
Fun fact, I heard that like when physios do their courses now, they have like a telehealth course, because like telehealth is so, popular these days. So they actually have to learn how to treat people through telehealth when they can't have access.
Makes sense. Yeah. It'd probably just be like, you need to move your phone down. I can see your shoulder, but I need to see your knee.
Yeah, and you probably like have to learn how to instruct people where to touch them or themselves or something. Okay, so we've talked about pretty much on and off court, but we'll talk about like mental health side of it. Like, because traveling on your own will be very tough, right? Like, how do you manage it? What do you do?
I feel like because I've been in lockdown in Australia for like 2 years.
Now you're like a tough woman. Yeah, I can take anything.
I feel like, I think I'm pretty resilient, but it's more so just like, I'm just so happy to be free. So, even when shit stuff is happening here, I'm just like, oh, it's all right. Like you'll be fine. And I'm just I guess I'm just in a really good mindset and so happy to just be competing, traveling, learning from different coaches, clubs, and, that kind of thing. So yeah, I'm just enjoying it so far. And yeah, I've probably had like one super down a day, and as I told you, I think it was more like PMS. But everything was just going wrong. I had to get these shirts printed in a rush before my competition the next day, and it was raining and I didn't know how to get there.
This
and
was
my
right
phone-
before you left, right?
No, this was once I was here.
Oh,
So
was
this
you
was
here?
like-
Oh,
this was this
yeah.
week. And like my SIM card wasn't working, and I topped it up twice and it like still wasn't working. It's just everything like was not going to plan. I was like, this is shit. And then like, I don't know, it's just like a choice. Like I was just feeding into the negative self-talk, and I was just like, yeah, this is shit, everything sucks, blah, blah, blah. And then I got it sorted and I was like, okay, it's good, it's fine. Like just focus on your match, you're all good. Eat some junk food a little bit. Don't feel too guilty, and then we're good.
Yeah. That's so funny. Like you guys have been in lockdown. Well, you guys, Melbourne. How long was Melbourne lockdown for? Like 2 years?
Like 280 days or something.
You're just built different now.
Yeah. So I guess the thing here is that like I'm in my own room a lot, so it's kind of a bit boring, and it's getting so cold and like dark and rainy that you don't really want to go out that much. So I've had days where I'm just like, oh, like I'm so over this room, so over like just watching TV shows, or even like I'm talking to my friends and family online and FaceTiming them and stuff, but I just need like that human interaction. But it's good. Like I know so many players that I can kind of just message them and hang out, and yeah.
That's really nice. And are you homesick? How long have you been away for now?
So far I've been away for 1 month pretty much exactly, and then I have 2 months left to go.
Ooh. Oh, what do you plan to do for Christmas?
Christmas, I'm planning just to like kind of skip it. Like it's just another day. I don't know. Christmas isn't really a big deal to me. Actually, most days aren't really a big deal to me.
No, but actually
like
Europe is really has got really good Christmas vibes. So you're gonna enjoy it there, right? Because I don't think it's that big here in Australia and New Zealand. Like it doesn't feel very Christmassy, you know, but in Europe it's like
because we're in summer.
Yeah.
In Australia and New Zealand. Everyone over here like can't comprehend that it's summer. I'm like, yeah, we like have barbecues and like sit by the pool, and they're like, what?
Like how do you get cozy?
Yeah. Yeah, so I think all the Christmas markets and stuff will start soon, which is one of the awesome things about Europe. But by that time, so my last tournament, so I have next Irish Open, Scottish Open, Wales Open, and these are all going to be played with like Simon and Wendy Chen from Australia as my partners. And then the last one is World Champs in December in Spain. So then my plan is to take a holiday around Spain and Portugal, where it's like hopefully still warm. One of my best friends is coming as well. So yeah, just gonna have a good time and enjoy the sunshine and explore those cities that I need to organize to hopefully have somewhere to stay, a way to get around by then.
I love when it like got to the organization, but you're like, I have to organize. Oh shit.
I literally like have a list of to-dos on my phone, and it's just getting so long. That's another thing about traveling by myself. Like I'm booking everything myself. I'm checking all the accommodation and the flights, and it's full on. It takes up like a lot of time.
But it sounds like you're handling things really well. So proud of you. And I love how like very proud of you. And I love the memes you send me. Like I wake up and it's like 3 a.m, and because it's gonna be like your 3 p.m. I'm like, what is this girl doing? Sending me memes. Or like the other day you messaged me and then it was like my 11 a.m. and then in my head I'm like, why is she still messaging me? I'm like, go to sleep. I'm tired, free. Do you remember that?
Yeah. That's actually one new thing that I started doing when I'm like sad or bored. I've started like searching up memes, and then I just send them to people, and then it starts conversations. And
That's good. So for like, we're probably gonna have to wrap this up because we can talk about this forever since we never run out of things to say. What's like the if someone was gonna do a solo trip for tournaments, what's your number one tip or advice that you could give them? Have a Melbourne lockdown and it'll be built different.
Yeah. Number one tip would probably be to try and reach out to other players and training centers so that you have some like other people to train with and stay with and accompany you, I guess, so that you're not like literally by yourself the whole time. And you can learn from all these different people as well. I think it's great.
Yeah, that's true. So for all the introverts out there, get extroverted. I'm kidding. Get out of your comfort zone.
Just get into people's DMs.
Thank you for listening to Badminton Lights Out by the Badminton Podcast.
We hope you enjoyed this episode as much as we enjoyed recording it.
Don't forget to like, comment, and share this episode, available on all platforms. Follow us on Instagram. The handle is @the Badminton Podcast, no spaces, and @Badminton Lights Out, no spaces.
Stay tuned for our next episode.